that Renee shared as personal experience. Renee Jones is a national known speaker. Forgive me, y'all. Y'all know I'm being honest. You know we keep it honest. I'm reading from a text. Works out perfect. Renee Jones is a national speaker and author, and recently Renee published her proclaimed book, Mama Ain't Teach Me That. Hey, I like that name. Renee is a member of the Speakers Bureau of RAINN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organizations, member of the Counseling and Treating People of Color, and the National Network to End Domestic Violence. That's awesome. And they're doing some beautiful things, guys. Y'all gotta make sure y'all listen to this. NNEDV, and that stands for the National Network to End Violence. Renee holds a bachelor's degree in counseling and working on her master's degree in social work. All right, I think she's going to make it happen. We welcome Renee Jones to our studio to talk about human trafficking and share her life stories, and hopefully callers, you get to learn and talk and have conversation with Renee Jones, because we all go through something, and when somebody's already been down that path, they can help stop you from making the same errors that they did. So Renee Jones is here to talk to you and help you understand that in life we will go through some, but you can overcome any obstacle that you are set in your path. Amen. Again, this is host Doreen Burst, and I welcome Renee Jones. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for a minute I didn't know who she was talking about. That's all me.
Awesome. That's
right.
All me. I do that too. You've been awesome.
You know, you do so much in the community and try to reach out. I don't keep up with a lot of stuff, and when people say, "Hey, I need to buy you," I'll be like, "Oh, who? Can't you just tell you who I am and be done with it?" Oh no, I can't go that far back.
Right.
But you know what? God is good. Man.
Oh,
yes, He is.
God is good. I could have been dead and gone.
You
That's
better
right.
say
Now
that.
you here to tell your story and talk to
here.
people.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And our callers, if you ever want to join and talk, remember the number is 216.
578-1490.
There we go. You have the number. Make sure you write it down. Make sure you call in to join our live audience.
Well, all right, Miss Renee, give it to us. Let us know what it's about.
Wow, guys. Okay, we're going to talk about human trafficking, and I don't want you all to get human trafficking confused. I think a lot of times it's like domestic violence. We get that kind of confused. You're thinking, when you say human trafficking, you're thinking that's something that happened over the border or something.
That's right.
You know, you're thinking that's something that happened to someone that was lost when they was a baby and run away. But that's not true. That's not true at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say probably about 5 years ago, there was a house raided in Pepper Pike, and it sits all the way back off in the woods. And that gentleman who owned that house was human trafficking for 13, 14, and 15-year-old girls.
Wow.
Okay, so it happens right next door.
That's right.
I am a survivor of human trafficking, and what happened to me, I was looking for love in all the wrong places. So when I was thinking that, you know, oh my God, he's so fine and he loves me. Like my first pillow from the dollar store had the little heart and I love you on it, and you know, all the little flowers and going out to eat. Everything was just so wonderful for about 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
For about 3 days. I could say that was the best 3 days of my life.
I know that's
I didn't
right.
care if that pillow came from the dollar store. I didn't look at it like that.
That's right.
But then here comes the surprise. Next thing I know, we riding down Prospect Avenue. I don't know if any one of you all know what Prospect Avenue was back then, but that's called a hoe stroll, baby.
Wow.
And I saw all the women dressed up in their fishnets, high heels, wigs down to their butt, nothing on, and you know, and I thought we were just going for a night ride or something. And then next thing you know, hey, having fun. He said, you know what, I want you to do that. And I thought about it, and I'm like, dang, if I don't do that, he might leave me.
That's right.
And this is what a lot of these young girls are saying. If I don't do what he want, he gonna leave me. I can't go back home, because, see, I came out of an abusive relationship. Okay. My ex-husband hospitalized me twice. I went to bed with a butcher knife. My plan was to kill him, because it was either going to kill me or I was going to kill him, and I knew.
That's right.
So I left from one bad situation, but I hopped into another, because, again, like I said in the beginning, I was looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yes.
And that's what these young girls are doing. And not just them, it's the older ones doing them also. Because there's a lack of something out here. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a lack of it. And so I did. I went out there and I started prostituting and selling my body and I'm thinking it's going to be temporary, and it ended up lasting probably like maybe a year. And a little bit after that year, what happened was he said we're going to take a trip. And we were packing up, and I'm thinking I'm going to take this trip because I'm putting all my little whole clothes in
I
the
know that's
suitcase,
right.
everything getting done. And now I'm really believing in this big old fancy trip, guys, okay? So I'm going to speed this up, audience, but I want you all to get the key points of what I'm saying here, because this is so, so important.
Oh, yeah.
What happened was that later that day, we were supposed to leave out that night. Between that night that I'm telling you now, I cannot remember what happened from that night when I packed up, was ready to leave off of Harvard. 189th of Harvard is this home where we were staying at. Until probably the 2 days later when I was in New York.
Okay.
When I was in New York City, it was a room that was just maybe as big as a walk-in closet. Let's put it that way. And I didn't know what was going on. And I continued to bang on the door, holler and scream, and then I heard a lot of noise. And what happened was they were making a hole just big enough in order for me to eat.
Food.
Ooh.
You know, so again, I'm still thinking this got to be some kind of trick. Something happened. I'm thinking something happened to him. He would not do this to me. He loved me. He bought me flowers and a pillow from the dollar store. It got to be something else different. So this is where my mindset was at. And all of this is in my book. Mom ain't teach me that. But you can find it at Barnes & Nobles and Amazon, or just contact me. However, it was, I don't know, I can't go with days. I just don't remember days and times, okay? So just keep up. What I do know is that men was coming in and out and saying that he sent me. Say, hey, okay, was Billy Bob, let's just say that name, sent me in here. You know, and next thing I know, it was, he was getting paid for men to do me.
That's right.
And then I had to do whatever I had to do. I've been raped several times, beaten, abused, emotional, physical. So it was rough. And someone asked me before, well, what happened? How did you get out? So that went on for a long time. I went from New York, we went to other little country stops, and we also stopped at a lot of bus stops. You know, like the 18-wheelers on the road when you be stopping.
Right.
And so we, you know, I had to serve them as well.
Wow.
And I was done at the end. I'm gonna have to say that, yes, I knew that I was going to Prospect, and I knew that I was going down here to do this. I didn't know at that particular time it was called prostitution.
That's right.
I didn't learn all of that. I didn't know all of that. And it does not just come from or happen to people from low income and projects,
Right.
okay? Because
Exactly.
I have a very successful family.
That's right.
My family was very successful back then. And judges who I won't mention was always in my corner and was able to get me out every time I went to jail. Only by the grace of God, he didn't find it necessary for me to do any prison time. So it didn't just happen to those who way out there. It also happened to the ones who come from loving homes with two parents, brothers, sisters, have everything good. We was the first blacks on our street. You know, all of that.
That's right.
So now at this particular time, we back in Cleveland, and we was at this hotel, some little inky-dink hotel they used to have down on Carnegie. I don't remember the name of it, what it's all about, but we stayed there for a while, and he would leave, and I ended up letting this guy know, who they call Tricks.
Okay.
I let him know that I didn't want to do this and I didn't want to be here. And these are the things that's going on with me. Something's wrong with this. I need help. I thought maybe he wanted to just go ahead and take his business and do what he do and be done with it. The reason he came in there to pay for me. But it took a little while. And next thing I know, the police did come. But the police came and raided the hotel, maybe about 4 or 5 rooms at that particular time. And that was my outage.
Oh, okay.
So that was my outage, and I took advantage of that.
I know that's right.
And then once I got out and I hid and I stayed at my sister's, and I was suffering and had to go through a whole lot. And you know what? This was years ago, but I'm just not getting the therapy and the counseling that I need. I am a counselor and a therapist. However, we need help as well.
That's
So
right.
I'm getting the service now for all of the things that I went through that I didn't get before.
That's right. That's good, though.
You know, so things went on, and I ended up working at this bar in Kinsman, the Spot Bar and Lounge.
I know.
All right, it took some time. This was way back in the day, okay? And it took some time. Everything was happy. I was good, and I thought everything was over. I'd never see him again. And he walked into the bar,
Oh.
you know, and he threatened my life. And he was dead serious because he said he was not going to prison. And if I were to tell anything that went on, he was going to prison. And he said that he would kill me before he go to prison. And he'd have something to go for. So I let my brother-in-law know about that. And they came and, you know, family people I knew came and said at the bar where I worked in order to make sure I was okay. And that went on for a long time. And now, at that particular time, I was clear. I felt clear. I felt comfortable enough that I didn't really have to watch over my shoulder. I didn't have to always call and say, hey, you know, I'm scared or what's going on here. Loud noises for a long time would shock me. Loud voices would get to me. It's a lot of things that go on with us. So please, 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 if you know anyone out there who's been through human trafficking, okay, that could be sex trafficking, that could be whatever kind of trafficking you want. If they say no, it's no, okay? If they say stop, it's stop. But when keep in mind, if you allow your children, your loved ones to come back into your life, please don't blame us. Don't say you should have did this, you should have, could have, would have. Don't tell us how we could have acted and the things that could have went on. It's not that simple.
That's good advice.
Everybody always think it's just that simple. Girl, just let go. Girl, just leave them. It's not that
Right,
simple.
right.
Either you empathize with me and help me push through this
Go through,
this trauma and disaster,
Amen.
or you leave me alone. Guys, please do not let none of these young or older, any male or female out there go through this and tell them just leave it alone.
Right.
Let him go. It's
Not
not
that
that
easy.
easy.
No, it isn't. It's a process.
And that might be the name of my next book. It's not that easy.
That's right. Right. It
You
is
know,
not.
so what I did at that particular time, once I left, completed with all of that, like I said, I never did get the help that I needed. And this is the triangles that we go through, because I'm going through one trauma to the next, from domestic violence to human trafficking. Now I'm going to turn myself out into drugs.
Okay.
I didn't use any type of mold, any type of chemicals while I was out there in this world. But then it started, and I went straight to the crack cocaine.
Wow.
And people always ask me, girl, do you drink or did you do this? Or you smoke cigarettes? No, I don't smoke cigarettes. I never smoked a cigarette. I don't drink. I don't care nothing about drink. When I was working at the bar, when they bought me drinks, I'd give them to my friends. I would hang around. I don't know how it ended up happening. Yes, I do. That was a lie. I apologize for lying. Yes, I
Okay.
did. I know exactly how it happened. I ended up selling it first.
Okay.
A family member gave it to me to sell over the bar,
Okay.
because I became popular in the bar, and I ended up selling it. So I went from selling bags to selling keys. I went from selling keys to smoking keys.
Wow.
I went from living in a 7-bedroom home to living in an abandoned building.
Wow.
What a change.
I didn't give away. People always say, well, you know, I gave away the car, and I gave away the house, and I gave away the car, the clothes, all this stuff. I didn't give anything away,
I know that's
because if I gave it away, I've been cleaning sober long enough that I should get it back by now.
Exactly.
I know that's right.
Mm.
I know that's
Wow.
right.
You
That's
know,
right.
I sold it. I sold it for that one more.
That's right.
All the things that I built up when I was selling drugs, I sold it. I didn't lose it. Because if I lost it, I should have found it. I didn't lose it.
That's right. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I lost my mind. I lost my spirit. I lost my soul. I lost, a lot of physical parts of my body. I was walking around like that. What's that movie? Mummies of the Dead or something.
Yeah, the zombies.
Zombies of the Dead. Yes, I was walking around like that.
Wow.
Well,
you know, and the things went on and things happened and I was at the right place at the right time and I'm a people person. I'm always talking to someone.
Right.
And I met this lady and she, you know, she said, "Honey, you need help." How did she tell I have on makeup?
I know that's right. She's got makeup. She did.
Yeah.
Makeup.
Oh,
How did she tell?
Tell the story.
You know, but how did she know I went from wearing 180 down to 97?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a caller for you. Come on, caller. Hello.
Jerry, Brenda, Doreen, JR.
Yeah, Todd.
Hey,
I got
Todd.
questions.
We got an answer. Come on with it.
Maybe. Let's hear. Renee,
Yes.
how old are you now, and how old were you when you first started prostituting yourself?
I was 22 when I first started. Because I left, like I said, from a marriage out of domestic violence. So I was 22, and I am 56 now.
56 or 66?
5'6", dude.
56?
5'6".
Can you, separate from, the reason I'm asking you that, so I can kind of get a feel of the era when you were involved in this, like the decade, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The decade in society and what may have been going on, especially in the neighborhood where you grew up, because I know that area very well. Can you tell me what your first, not the actual sexual experience, but the first person that you had a sexual experience with, can you tell me what your relationship was like with him? Meaning, maybe it would have been your first boyfriend, or it might have been your neighbor, or it might have just been some guy you met in church or something like that. Can you tell me what your experiences were with that person prior to you actually having sex with them?
The very first time I ever had sex, I got pregnant. My mother made me marry him, so that was my husband, ex-husband.
Well,
And
prior to you
I
having
was
sex with
18.
the
I was
person.
17. I was 17.
Well, I'm saying prior to you having sex with him, what was your relationship with him like? Did y'all date? Were y'all friends?
We were friends. We dated.
What kind of things did y'all do together that would qualify, that other people might be able to relate to as being normal, healthy teenager type relationships? What other things did you do? Like, did you go to, like, I'm thinking when you were 17, because of your age, Randall Mall was probably open. Did y'all go to the movies?
You know what we did? We hung out at Nathan Hale. We did kickball. We played jacks. We sat on my front porch. We sat on his front porch. We went to drive-in with our families. We were family people. Back then, his father was the supervisor at Ford, because way back then, Ford was the place to work at.
Right. That's the place to work.
So, you know, they were also a pretty well-established family, as well as my family were.
Why did you hang out at Nathan Hale? You grew up on 189th and Harvard.
I never told you that. I never mentioned
She never
Harvard at
mentioned
all.
where she lived.
I never
I heard
mentioned
her say 189th and Harvard.
She talked about different experiences, but she never said where she resided.
Okay, well, what neighborhood What neighborhood did you grow up in when you were a teenager?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. What neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up in Harvard.
And how old are you?
I'm 44.
And you don't know me.
That's true.
So
But
therefore,
let me tell you, that's true. I don't know you, but what I'm trying to get a feel, your experiences. You're talking about your experience because you want, partly because you don't want people to go through those types of, the bad experience I'm referencing. You may want people to go through the experiences that you went through that were good. Like at 17 years old, if you're going to movies with a boy or an adolescent your age, if you're sitting on the front porch talking, if you're exchanging cards, just normal, healthy greeting cards.
What's your
between
point?
one
I'm
another.
trying to understand your bottom line, because
Yeah.
you're talking about her being a teenager and nobody knew that there would be a domestic violence relationship. She thought it was healthy. At some point it became unhealthy.
There's a big leap. There's a big leap between what is considered a healthy relationship that you just described in the questions that I asked you, and then what you ended up in. And if you're going to talk about how you ended up in something that was unhealthy and you got out of it, it helps a lot if you give the girls that lived in a healthy environment, such as yourself, started healthy relationships with guys as you did, and then there was a big leap.
okay, let me share this. First of all, I cannot let the females or men, our adolescents, know today as far as what happened in the early 70s, because what happened in the early 70s has nothing to do with what's going on right now in the 60s. They are not going to the movies to play fair. They are not sitting on the porch. A whole lot of them are not. I work with at-risk adolescents boys and girls. Been doing it for 10 years. I've been there, okay? My son is in an organization whose name I will not mention. So I understand all that. And no, they're not. I did not date. My family, my mother had her girls close to her. I didn't date. I didn't do any of that. I just happened to be out. We liked each other. We talked a little bit. He came to my house. I went to his house. My mom thought he was a good kid. I guess his dad and mom thought I was a good girl, and everything went fine. We went into my basement. We first time kissed, and for that first time kiss was the first time having sex. At least that's what we thought it was, but it didn't even take no time, so I didn't even realize it. So yeah, there is a pattern. But right now, in this day and time, there's so many different mindsets on different patterns because it's all about how you stay raising up in the family. That old lie is dead. What goes on in this house, stay in this house. And the people are continuing to do that. So I can't, when I share my stories and talk to the young kids out here, I don't go through what's going on when I was 17. Because when I was 17, I wasn't doing half the stuff they're doing now. I talk about what's going on now and where it could end up where I ended up now.
Okay, well, let me say this, because I'm going to go back to listening, but let me say this. I accept that it's true that there is a portion of the population that is not doing the things that we just described in this conversation that are healthy, productive, teenage-type things, you know. But there are hundreds of thousands just in the black community alone that are still very much still at that age, in that age bracket when you're starting to discover the one another as far as romantic, what they describe as romantic in that age bracket anyway. Relationships, you know, they're still going to the movies, they're still hanging out on the porches, they're still doing those things. You're
right. You're right, because my nieces and everyone's still doing it. She just got honored over at Harvard. So yeah, you're
that's what I'm
absolutely
saying,
right.
Renee. I'm saying there's a leap in if you're really trying to get to the ones that are having those experiences, but somehow make a leap between those experiences and something very graphic and incorrect, it helps a lot. If you explain how you made your leap other than just, you know, I understand what you're saying as an outsider can. And that's all I could do is understand as an outsider. But if you're really trying to make a connection between the right way and then the leap to the wrong way, it helps a lot. If you explain,
but
and
you
you're
know
using
what?
yourself as an example,
but you know what? I don't make connections.
But
I don't make connections over a radio station like this.
Well,
okay, this is just former media information. But this is just former information.
Back to listeners.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I don't know where we were getting with that anyway. So somebody was beating a bush. I didn't really get his point. But
and then one of the things is what happened to you at a young age. Being in a domestic violence situation could happen at any age.
Correct.
From 17, 48, you get with a relationship person and you don't know. You expect the best, but you don't know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be at any age. I think he was more so saying, what's the leap from where you were with the domestic violence to...
Well, there really wasn't a leap. I went straight into it.
Right.
Okay. My family stayed so busy with their careers and serving the community of Cuyahoga County that I did not get a chance to do that little loving little thing. So like I said in the beginning, which I did say, I was looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right.
That was the very first conversation. And a lot of girls and boys look for love in all the wrong places.
Definitely.
That's how a lot of them end up being gang members, because they're looking for love in all the wrong places. Okay, so what happened was I was looking for that. When I met him, and we ended up getting pregnant, and both families had good jobs and everything, so they like back then, they old school. They from Birmingham, Alabama. They old school, so they say, marry him.
That's right.
I didn't know I was marrying a crazy man.
He thought he was cool from just being around.
So, of course, I'm not going to turn around. I kept going because I'm still looking for something. You know, just like that caller just called. He's still looking for something. He's not sure exactly where he's at. He's still looking for something. And he can't, no one can say they're not. Because as long as you wake up each day, you better be looking for something.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's about change.
Right, it's about change.
And he also said something that I want to throw out on the reason I brought someone with me is what else are you doing to link this with the community and the young ladies out there.
That's right.
Mhm.
Maybe a year or so ago,